We handle a lot of physician employment matters, both representing a physician or employee or often representing a medical practice employer, and usually at either end of a continuum. One is signing and the other is leaving. It's not so much in between. And at signing, it's important to not think of the physician employment agreements as the word we hear a lot is standard. From 10,000 feet, they all look the same sections of these contracts, same kind of concepts covered, but we see that there's potentially great variance in different provisions, like a non-compete, for example. One can be severely onerous and another one quite reasonable. So if you're the doctor signing the non-compete, you shouldn't assume that it's not, you shouldn't assume it's written in stone. It may be, so the employer will say so. Often it's a matter of looking at something like that and deciding if this were to apply one day and I have left employment, how will it impact me? And could I live with it? And if the answer is no, then trying to figure out before you sign a proper pathway to perhaps diluting the severity of it or negotiating aspects of it with the employer. With regard to many other examples of things to consider when signing a physician employment agreement or preparing one if you're the employer. With regard to the other end, leaving, usually in our experience as healthcare counsel, there are lots more issues to deal with, a lot more risk. But broadly speaking, if we're representing the employee, the doctor, the two categories of things we might be dealing with the most are money, making sure they're paid properly, and then making sure that their future employability is protected. That if, for example, they were terminated for cause, we as counsel want to understand and evaluate whether there was actual cause. If there was not, whether it makes sense to try to negotiate the nature of the termination to something that is agreeable to both sides in order to protect the future employability of the doctor, which can be adversely impacted by for-cause termination. And from the employer's standpoint, we're looking to provide as much as possible a clean break in the relationship with the doctor to avoid a dispute, to try to make sure that there are no compliance issues and that there's no continuity of care problem and so forth. So throughout physician employment, that life cycle, there can be many different issues, but most of the issues we see are going to be at signing or when the doctor's exiting.